This video contains spoilers for all of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and Episode 3 of the Epic 7 story mode. Stop me if you've heard this story before. The protagonist lives an ordinary childhood life surrounded by countless loving friends and family. However, in a single night, this ordinary life is stripped from them with the murder of everyone they know and love. Determined to exact revenge, the protagonist dedicates their life to killing the one responsible, but upon doing so, more information is revealed, shifting the blame to someone else. So the protagonist once again sets out to exact revenge. However, as time passes, the protagonist comes to regret their actions and gives up this life of revenge. That loose summary can be applied to both Sasuke Ucihia from Naruto and Senya from Epic 7. Both characters are examples of the revenge trope, which TV Tropes defines as being a viciously personal form of paying evil onto evil. Someone has done something seriously bad and there's no justice to be had. So the character sets out to exact their own kind of justice. Sasuke embodies this trope by spending the majority of the series attempting to kill his older brother Itachi for murdering their clan, while Senya attempts to kill the Dragon Lord Uberius for ordering the massacre of her village, a goal she hopes to accomplish by receiving training from Uberius' son Mortellix. Despite their very similar backstories, the respective fanbases' receptions of the two are drastically different. Anime reviewer CJ from the blog Our Inked Obsession wrote an article about Sasuke titled, "The Worst Manga Character of All Time," where they state, Sasuke himself never develops as a character, constantly being obsessed with revenge. This is a stark contrast from the Epic 7 fanbase's view of Senya, with a user on the Epic 7 subreddit saying, "The way Senya died, I was in tears. It completely broke my heart." So if the two are so similar, why are they regarded so differently? The answer lies in both of them being an attempt at writing a tragic hero. However, while Smilegate is successful in crafting Senya into one, Kishimoto is not. In contrast to Smilegate's handling of Senya, Kishimoto is unable to keep Sasuke sympathetic.
俺はあんたを殺したいとうずうずしてるぜ。かかしい。
For a character to be sympathetic, they must display two qualities, self-awareness and growth. Sasuke lacks both of these qualities, preventing him from being a sympathetic character. This inability to be a sympathetic character by extension prevents Sasuke from being categorized as a tragic hero. Philosophy PhD candidate Sheila Bruning defines a tragic hero as being a character whose misfortune is attributed not to vice or depravity, but an error of judgment. The hero is fittingly described as good in spite of an infirmity of character. This character also undergoes a moment of discovery, during which he experiences a change from ignorance to knowledge, and the goal of this discovery is to accomplish its catharsis, which is meant to make the audience feel sympathy-derived pity for the character. Christina Baker-Klein from the Center of Fiction states to be sympathetic, the reader needs to grasp what the character is thinking and feeling, and an unsympathetic character remains static. This moment of discovery, by definition, makes the tragic hero a sympathetic one, because it first requires development to reach this moment, and second elicits understanding from the audience. This is what differentiates Senya from Sasuke, because while both were on track to being a proper tragic hero, Sasuke's actions post-discovery strips him of his sympathetic qualities, preventing him from attaining tragic hero status. But a character being sympathetic cannot be exclusively dependent upon their moment of discovery. This moment occurs near the end of the character's arc, so if the audience doesn't feel sympathy prior to this moment, the intended feeling of catharsis will not be achieved. This initial burst of sympathy is fostered in the same way for both characters, with the massacre of their respective families. The end result of both events renders the two characters orphans, which intrinsically draws sympathy from the audience. In his essay, Orphans and Their Quests, postdoctoral research fellow Manveer Singh states sympathetic tales likely induce sympathetic joy, or the feeling of being happy for someone. Singh further states in order to induce sympathetic joy, stories should star the sort of characters whom we most want to help. Specifically characters pursuing relatable goals, and start out in need but their suffering is out of their control. Then have them succeed. Singh even provides a method for establishing this type of suffering, stating the quickest way to an audience's heart is to kill off your character's parents. Smilegate and Kishimoto both employ this method to garner sympathy, however it is debatable if Sasuke and Senya succeed in the pursuit of revenge. However, Singh accounts for this, stating violations of the sympathetic plot, such as tragedies, critique fads by showing the awful outcomes they're capable of. And that's what Senya and Sasuke boil down to, attempts at a tragic hero in order to criticize the obsessive drive for revenge. However, to be a tragic hero, sympathy for the character must be developed over time to get the audience invested in the character's emotions. The differing actions of the two characters after this event, specifically their relationships with other characters, make Sasuke lose sympathy while sympathy for Senya is bolstered. In hopes of obtaining the power to kill Itachi, Sasuke deserts his village to join the terrorist Orochimaru. However, Sasuke is confronted by his best friend Naruto, who attempts to bring him back to the village through force, resulting in the two fighting. During this fight, Sasuke pierces a hole through Naruto's chest, stating, "You prevented me from hitting your heart at the last second." Sasuke using an attack with lethal intent on someone he considers his best friend detracts from any sympathetic qualities he has, because although clear that he is lashing out, attempted murder is too drastic to be overlooked. This also portrays Sasuke as hypocritical, wanting to punish Itachi for being a mass murderer, while simultaneously attempting to murder someone, showcasing Sasuke's lack of self-awareness. Eventually, Naruto tries to verbally convince Sasuke to return, attempting to empathize with Sasuke's loneliness due to them both being orphans. However, Sasuke rebukes him, saying, "You had nothing in the first place. What the hell do you understand about me?" Downplaying the suffering of Naruto while insisting his own suffering is greater, depicts Sasuke as being very self-centered, and this lack of empathy for someone with such similar circumstances to him detracts from any sympathy felt for Sasuke. Similarly, Senya's last remaining friend, Alencia, pleads for her to not seek revenge. However, Senya responds by ending her friendship with Alencia, stating, "Don't let me see you again, no matter what." And, "How could you possibly understand any of this when you've never lost anything?" Despite the parallels to Sasuke, Senya actually garners further sympathy from this event, because prior to this fallout, Smilegate established that Senya and Alencia care very deeply for one another. For example, when Alencia and Senya are investigating the Mad Dragons, Alencia tells Senya, "Make sure you always stick close to me, Senya." To which Senya responds, "Of course, why don't we hold hands then?" Alencia initially refuses, worriedly saying, "What if I fail to control my power and hurt you?" But reluctantly agrees when Senya responds, "Then how about this? You stay still, and I'll hold your hand." Alencia primarily focuses on physical dangers to Senya, whereas Senya focuses on reaffirming Alencia's emotional state, portraying the two characters as caring very deeply about one another. The sheer trust between the two characters is a testament to their relationship being as close, if not closer than family, and this is why despite Senya's words mirroring Sasuke's, she is still able to elicit sympathy during her fallout with Alencia. Seeing the relationship that had been so thoroughly built up prior to this point crumble is tragic because Senya is essentially losing two families within a very short duration of time. Eventually, both characters are able to attain their revenge, with Sasuke and Senya killing Itachi and Yubarius respectively. However, any feelings of accomplishment are short-lived, as both characters experience their moment of discovery soon after. In Sasuke's case, it's revealed that Itachi was ordered to kill the Uchiha clan, who intended on revolting in order to prevent a civil war. However, Itachi couldn't kill his little brother, because he viewed Sasuke as more important than the village. This elicits sympathy for Sasuke because he dedicated his entire life and committed countless atrocities to exact justice upon someone who wasn't truly guilty. Additionally, everything Itachi did was for Sasuke, sacrificing everything for him. But Sasuke unknowingly ended up killing the person who cared for him most, resulting in Sasuke truly experiencing the complete loneliness he thought Itachi had subjected him to after the massacre. However, this sympathy for Sasuke would be short-lived due to his subsequent actions. Similarly, after killing Yubarius, Senya also has her moment of discovery, with her teacher Mortellix revealing that the creation of the Mad Dragons that terrorized human villages were not coincidental, but in actuality orchestrated events that Mortellix puppeteered, culminating in him flat out admitting that he created the Mad Dragons, and was the one who set the fire that razed Senya's village, killing her family. This is the inverse of Sasuke's moment of realization, however it still garners sympathy for Senya. Whereas Sasuke realized he had never truly been alone, Senya realizes there isn't a single person alive who cares about her well-being, with the one positive figure remaining in her life in actuality being the one responsible for her current situation. This betrayal is made all the more tragic because Senya had begun to develop feelings for Mortellix. However, Mortellix was aware of these feelings, stating, "Did you think I didn't realize you had feelings for me? I've been watching over you to amplify all those emotions you might feel, the anger toward yourself, and hatred toward me." This explicit confession serves to garner further sympathy for Senya because it's an admittance that every terrible thing that had ever happened to her was an orchestrated event by Mortellix, and in conjunction with deliberate emotional manipulation, were all designed to inflict the maximum amount of pain on Senya as possible. Making the situation even more tragic, right before being killed, Yubarius begged Senya to spare him, stating, "If you kill me, things are only going to become worse. I'll try to make things better." Senya is self-aware enough to realize that her actions would likely provoke a war between dragons and humans, but unable to let go of her revenge, she kills Uberius anyways. The self-awareness of Senya makes this decision especially frustrating. However, sympathy for Senya still remains due to the catharsis felt for Senya almost immediately after killing Uberius, during Mortellix's confession. In his article Catharsis, Leon Golden of the College of William and Mary states that during this moment of catharsis, the sinful acts committed by the tragic hero are shown to be pure of guilt, establishing the conditions under which the emotion of pity may be shown. Part of being revenge-driven inherently means doing morally questionable things. However, the sympathy for the character is emphasized and their prior misconducts are overlooked due to this repentance. This is why both Sasuke and Senya are sympathetic during their moment of discovery. The two characters acknowledge what they've done wrong and are repentant, but the fact that it's too late elicits sympathy from the audience. However, the way the two characters develop after this moment is what cements Senya as a tragic hero and prevents Sasuke from being labeled as one. Sasuke is not truly repentant of his actions after his moment of discovery. His only regret is killing Itachi. After learning the truth, Sasuke declares he has one goal, the complete and utter destruction of his home village. This is what makes Sasuke unsympathetic. After learning the truth regarding Itachi, Sasuke should know the detriments of blindly pursuing revenge without knowing all the facts. Yet he decides to once again blindly pursue revenge without knowing all the facts. Additionally, the decision to destroy his home village is extremely hypocritical. Up to this point, he had dedicated his life to killing Itachi for killing his loved ones, but now he's essentially aiming to adopt an Itachi-like role for countless people. This highlights Sasuke's lack of self-awareness because Sasuke should know more than anyone the suffering that will spawn from an act like this, yet he doesn't have any qualms with making mass genocide his new goal. This complete lack of empathy also makes it hard to understand Sasuke, which in turn makes it harder to sympathize with him. Although much later Sasuke has a change of heart, sympathy for him isn't re-achieved because he faces almost no consequences. Despite genocidal intentions, Sasuke is forgiven, allowed back into the village, and ends the series happily married. In contrast, the remainder of Senya's story is riddled with regret, and her actions after her initial moment of discovery culminates in another moment of discovery. Senya's actions sparked a war between humans and dragons, and during this war, a young child tells Senya that I want to be a brave dragon knight like you and kill all those bad dragons. This causes Senya to question her actions, realizing she's been pushing people towards their death just to fulfill her own greed, and her vengeance has brought ruin not only to herself, but to everyone around her. However, it's too late. The war is unable to be quelled, and due to Mortellix's training, Senya is dying. She decides that she wants to at least make amends with Alencia, so she searches for her. However, Senya never finds Alencia, succumbing to her poor health. Senya dies alone, her last word to a hallucination of Alencia, where she says, "I'm so glad that I got to see you one last time. I came here because I had something to tell you. I know you probably don't want to see me, but I'd like to go back. I just want to go back and change everything back to the way it used to be. I just want to go back, Alencia. I'm sorry I'm late." This very explicitly portrays Senya as being self-aware, fully realizing that her desire for revenge has undeniably made the world a worse place, resulting in the suffering of countless others. This empathy for all the people impacted by her actions has riddled Senya with regret. However, her realization is too late and she's unable to fix anything, cementing her as a tragic hero. To be a tragic hero, one must first be a sympathetic character, which entails experiencing moments of self-awareness and empathy. Although both Senya and Sasuke follow similar narrative beats, only Senya can be considered a tragic hero. This is because throughout his arc, Sasuke consistently lacks the two priorly mentioned key factors of being a sympathetic character. It is especially important for these factors to be present after the character's moment of discovery in order to maintain sympathy for the character. This is often achieved by having the character face the consequences and regrets that have resulted from their actions. However, Kishimoto's decision to have Sasuke have little regrets and few consequences prevents him from being classified as a tragic hero, whereas Smilegate uses these factors to maintain the audience's sympathy for Senya, crafting her into one of the greatest tragic heroes in entertainment. And that's a wrap. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Jason-C, and I'm attempting to be an Epic 7 content creator. If you're hearing this message, you made it all the way through the video, so I'd really like to thank you. I really appreciate it. If you're a returning viewer, I know this isn't my usual content, but I wanted to test some things out, and it was a school project, so I figured why not upload it and share it with all of you, my loyal watchers. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. This video took a lot of research and time to make, so if you want more like it, please indicate as such, and yeah. Thank you all so much. See you next time.